Confucius reveals the secret to living with purpose and justice. What if Confucius, the man who revolutionized ethics, were speaking to you right now, teaching how to live with purpose in the modern age? Confucius wasn't a king or a saint. He was a man with questions and the courage not to accept the world as it was. And perhaps like you, he felt the confusion around him wasn't just political, it was human. Something in how people treated each other had been lost. Something about respect, honor, empathy, beautiful words but fragile in practice. So he made a decision. If society was broken, he would begin with what he could reach. Himself. Not to become better than others, but to create a world where being human was still a compliment, not a disappointment. That choice, to make personal ethics the foundation for society, still echoes. And it echoes in you, right now, right here. You who seek meaning. You who question the pace of things. You who know there's more than performance, noise, and urgency. That search is sacred, and I'm here to walk with you through it. Welcome to Axiom Sage, timeless wisdom from the East to transform your mind and spirit. Here, we go deep without losing lightness. We think deeply without becoming abstract. And today, we walk with none other than Master Confucius. In just a few minutes, you'll discover 3 pillars of Confucian teaching that can transform your ethics, your sense of justice, and your life's meaning, even amid the rush and noise of the modern world. Prepare to feel this wisdom come alive in you. This is an abstract philosophy. It's an inner manual for those who wish to live ethically, act justly, and wake each day with a real sense of purpose. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be true. From ancient China, Confucius, Kongzi, gave us not just rules, but internal maps, instructions to build character, manage relationships, and create communities rooted in virtue. Today, these teachings offer guidance to anyone seeking to be an ethical, just, and purposeful human being, living with clarity and presence. Here at Axiom Sage, we honor this wisdom without romanticizing it. It's philosophy with grounded feet, an awakened heart, and a forward-facing gaze. We'll dive into the essence of Run, active compassion, foundational empathy, the strength of E, acting justly, a posture of integrity, the elegance of Li, living ritual, respect that transforms relationships. Each theme will come with examples, simple practices, and reflections that connect directly to your life, here and now. If you want not just to hear, but to live this transformation, take a moment now. Subscribe to Axiom Sage, turn on notifications, and begin this journey of deep wisdom, purpose, and practical ethics. Not rushed, not performative, just presence. Let's begin with Ren. Ren is often translated as kindness or benevolence, but those words feel too weak for what Confucius truly meant. Ren is the heart of ethics. It's the force that allows us to see others as an extension of ourselves. It's the invisible muscle that moves us forward without stepping on anyone. Ren is holding the door for someone without expecting applause. It's staying silent so another can take up space. It's seeing someone in pain and not just feeling pity, but feeling responsibility. Ren is active compassion. It's empathy in motion. It's the courage to care for the world without needing to control it. That's why, before any rule, Confucius always began with Ren. You may be wondering, how do I apply this in practice? I understand. We live in a time where even compassion feels calculated, where help comes with receipts, where everything becomes transactional. But what Confucius teaches isn't performative kindness. It's something deeper, something that begins in how we see. Have you noticed what happens when you really see someone? Not with your eyes, with your listening, with your presence. Try now. Remember the last time someone looked at you without hurry. Remember the relief, the pause their gaze created. That's where Ren begins. When Confucius taught his students, he didn't give quick answers. He asked questions that returned the responsibility for the world to the student. Once he was asked, "Master, what is Ren?" he replied, "It is to love others, but not love in the romantic, idealized sense. Love as in caring, even when you don't have to. Love as in giving attention, even when it has no label. Love as in choosing every day to be kind, not because the world is kind, but because you are. And now, I'd like to offer you something. A practice. Simple, silent, powerful. For the next 3 minutes, close your eyes and think of someone with whom you've had recent tension. It could be something small, a sharp word, a misunderstanding, a heavy silence. Now, take a deep breath and mentally say, "May this person find peace." Repeat it 3 times. You don't need to forgive right now. You don't need to forget. Just wish. Wish it sincerely. That is the seed of run, and you've just planted it. You may be thinking, but what if I don't feel anything? What if it doesn't work? That's okay. Confucius didn't demand purity. He asked for practice, because he knew that the heart can be educated too. And it's through this quiet repetition, this honest wish for another to flourish, that the heart shifts how it sees the world. Not because the world has changed, but because you stopped hardening. And that is a revolution. This is the beauty of Confucius's teachings. They don't impose. They invite. They don't demand blind faith. They ask for presence. And if you've made it this far, you've already begun. You're already within it. Not a theory, but a living path. Rin is only the first step, but without it, the others lose meaning. Because justice without empathy becomes punishment, and ritual without love becomes performance. Do you understand? Without run, virtue becomes vanity. With run, virtue becomes a path. Maybe that's why Confucius once said, "The person of run helps others establish themselves while establishing themselves, helps others grow while growing themselves." It's an ethic of the mirror. You don't impose anything on the world that you're not willing to live within yourself. You don't demand what you don't first offer. You don't accuse without also reflecting. And that changes everything. Because while the world shouts, "Look at me," the person of Ren whispers, "Look at them." While the world seeks to conquer, the person of Ren seeks to understand. While the world wants to shine, the person of Ren wants to warm. There's no performance, only care. And that care, you can practice right now. You now carry a new seed within you. Run, the active compassion that blossoms from truly seeing the other. And from that blooming, we discover a second pillar just as essential. The inner righteousness that guides our choices, even when no one is watching. Rin creates space for others to exist. He calls us to act, not to impress, not to gain, but because it is just. And justice is not only justice when laws demand it. It exists in the smallest gestures, in the unspoken acknowledgments. It's the decision to return a wallet the cashier left behind. It's respecting someone's personal space. It's holding on to honesty, even when no one is paying attention. It is the uprightness that blooms when external pressure fades. It's the internal compass that says, even if no one sees, I stay true. Imagine someone correcting a minor error in their bank account, even though no one noticed. Imagine someone returning a mistaken payment, even a cent no one would ever miss, but that lingers in the heart. These small acts are and builds character. We live in a time where image sells more than essence. A world that worships spectacle, promotes filtered versions, and engineers realities. What would Confucius say? He would remind us that morality doesn't live in the spotlight. It resides in the quiet room, in the decisions you make when no one is watching. He is courage. Courage to be just, even when it hurts. Courage to return the change. Courage to keep your word, even if you forgot the appointment. It is said that an imperial officer once found a golden cup lost within the palace. He could have kept it. No one would have known. But he spoke louder. He brought the cup directly to the throne. No announcement, no glory. Just simple justice, silent integrity. In that act, he spoke to the world and to his own heart that a person of integrity is defined by what they do in secret. Pause and reflect. Have you ever hidden the truth to avoid discomfort? Have you said yes out of fear of conflict? Have you failed to return something that wasn't yours, thinking no one will know? These small betrayals of the heart are shadows of injustice. He is the antidote And right now, you can begin again. Take a small notebook or open a note on your phone. Write down a recent moment when you didn't honor yourself. Imagine what it would mean to act with courage now. Mentally write what you did and what you could have done with thee. This isn't about guilt. It's about illuminating the shadow. Confucius said, "A virtuous person corrects their faults, but is not defined by them, because he is born from clear awareness, not shame." Integrating E into everyday life is simple, but never superficial. In the body, upright posture, steady gaze, no avoidance. In your tone, speak with clarity. Don't lie for convenience. Speak with balance. In time, honor your word. Return messages. Be a reliable presence. Every choice strengthens your commitment to integrity. Imagine two paths. One paved with immediate rewards, convenient lies, shortcuts no one will catch. And one that is harder, quieter, without applause, but lets you sleep in peace. You know which path earned your self-respect. It isn't always easy, but it is always right. E is that path. You've lived run. Now you're living E, and your life is finding its center. A center that doesn't sway with the winds of public opinion. That doesn't depend on likes or validation. It rests on the quiet virtue living within you. And from it, we begin building a life with real purpose. The kind of purpose reflected in your daily choices and the legacy you'll leave behind. Wearing the mask of efficiency and false image roughens the spirit. But when you choose E, it's like donning an invisible armor, strong, intimate, sustainably honest. And in that moment, something anchors within you. Something that says, yes, I could be just, even in silence. If you felt that strength, share it mentally with me. I choose E. A simple choice. A turning point. You've experienced the soft energy of Run and felt the silent strength of E. Now, I invite you to welcome the third principle Confucius saw as essential for complete virtue. Li, often translated as ritual or ceremony, but at its core, it is much more. It is the way we treat each moment, each person, each gesture with reverence. Li doesn't require a temple, altar, or grandeur. Li happens when you bow gently to someone you pass on the street. Li appears when you enter another's home quietly, out of respect for their space. Li shows its power when you reach out to help without looking around, a gesture that asks for no recognition. In all these small actions, Li awakens something ancient and powerful, respect for the fabric of life. Picture a simple dinner among friends. There's food, there's conversation, and there's something subtle, the way each person receives their plate, the way one listens fully before speaking, the way hands meet the glass, unhurried. That is Li, the ritual that transforms action into presence, the small act that carries great intention. Greet with your eyes. I'm present. You are seen. Respect the voice. Listen without interrupting. Thank with intention. Thank you for preparing this. It nourished me. End interactions with care. It was good to be with you. These gestures are small, but they carry the weight of presence. They make your everyday a sacred space, not just a to-do list. It is said Confucius once attended a public ceremony where many performed bows without intention, merely following protocol. He interrupted gently and said, "There is honor in the gesture, but only when it is born from the heart." He reminded everyone, Li is not performance. It is internal presence expressed externally. The aesthetic of virtue is born from the harmony between heart and action. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Think of the last time someone gave you their full attention. Maybe it was a silent gaze. Maybe it was quiet presence. Now recall the last time you offered that to someone else. Did it have an impact? Probably. That subtle reverence, that silent presence, is what sustains human dignity. I invite you to try something simple, yet profound. From now until the end of the day, choose 3 moments of interaction. 1. At the start of any conversation, look the person in the eyes. 2. When receiving anything, offer sincere gratitude. 3. When ending an interaction, close it with gentle care as a gesture of reverence. Pay attention to what happens. Notice how you feel. Notice how the other responds. That is Li. Li leads us to a practice of uniting inner and outer worlds. Essence, inner reverence. Form, external gesture. Confucius taught that virtue arises when both are in harmony. It's not enough to silence the mind. You must also speak with care. It's not enough to perform a gesture. It must be aligned with your heart. In this balance, the virtuous being finds freedom, and the community finds respect. Now, feel the quiet connection among these three pillars. Ren creates space for others to exist. He guides your choices with integrity. He translates those forces into respectful action. Together, they form a powerful triad. Active compassion, inner integrity, conscious reverence. Together, they transform your life and the world around you. When you embody Run, E, and Li, you become a silent beacon. No need for fanfare. No need for recognition. Just the quiet strength that comes from inner alignment. Imagine 3 scenarios. 1. At work, you correct a mistake, return what isn't yours, and greet your colleague with genuine respect. 2. At home, you clean without being seen, listen without interrupting, cook with care. 3. In relationships, you apologize sincerely, admit your faults, listen to pain without defending yourself. These 3 actions weave deep ethics into your daily life and transform how the world responds to you. You've already nurtured the living empathy of Run, grounded your integrity with E, and practiced reverence through Li. Now, a new breath begins to dwell in your heart. Ji, active wisdom, the moral discernment that guides your life with clarity and purpose. Ji isn't studying for the sake of studying. It's not about collecting information. It's about applying knowledge, choosing with awareness. It's the quiet compass that says, not just what is right, but what is soulful and true. It's the wisdom to say yes when the world pressures you to say no. It's the courage to say no when it feels more comfortable to say yes. Ji is the balance between thought and feeling, the meeting place of head and heart. When you practice Ji, a clearer inner voice begins to emerge. You face an invitation, confusing, urgent, and before reacting, you breathe. You're offered an opportunity, shiny, tempting, and before saying yes, you reflect. You encounter conflict with harsh words, and before you explode, you listen to your body, calm your mind, respond with balance. That inner voice is born of wisdom. It is the voice Confucius cultivated, and the voice you are becoming. It is said that Confucius once advised rulers, a wise leader prepares his choices well, and when discussing decisions, he makes the absence of himself, silence, his greatest strategy. This was Ji in action. He knew that impulsive choices destroy values. He knew wisdom strengthens with pause, inner dialogue, and humility. 1. Conscious pause. Before any important decision, breathe and ask, what is my real motive? What will the impact be? What emotion is behind this impulse? 2. Constructive doubt. Question your own certainties. Challenge your thoughts. Why do I believe this? How much of this is emotional? Is there another valid perspective? 3. Daily review. At the end of the day, reflect. What choice did I make well? Where did I overlook Ji? What did I learn today to be wiser tomorrow? Ji doesn't exist on its own. It's born from the union of Run, compassion that sees. E, integrity that acts. Li, reverence that sustains. From this, wisdom is activated. A mind that's firm, yet guided by heart and soul. Set a discreet reminder on your phone. Every 2 hours, stop. Breathe. Observe what's behind your next action. Impulse, need, emotion. Then ask inwardly, does this choice align with what is just, respectful, compassionate? Let the answer arise in silence. That is Ji in miniature, refining body, emotion, and mind. Imagine these 3 moments. You're tired, but choose to keep your word. A choice of E and Li, strengthened by Ji. You see someone mistreated and choose to help, even while exhausted. Ren, Li, and Ji. You're offered a tempting opportunity that doesn't align with your values, and you say no with integrity. Here, Ji quiets urgency and honors the whole. These small decisions build true character. When Run, Yi, Li, and Ji align, you don't live just for yourself. You live through the quiet clarity of a practical ethic. You walk with wisdom. You act with presence. You live with purpose, and the world responds. Let's bring the four together. When you connect with someone, Run. When you act with justice, Yi. When you revere with presence, Li. When you decide with wisdom, Ji. You're building more than character. You're building a way of living, a life that makes the world pause and feel. We've walked through four essential pillars. 1. Run, active compassion. 2. Yi, inner righteousness. 3. Li, practical reverence. 4. Ji, applied wisdom. The fifth is approaching, and it will unify everything you've cultivated. Are you ready? Breathe and come with me. You've already cultivated active compassion, personal integrity, reverence in action, and everyday wisdom. Now I invite you to return to the deep roots of being human, to ancestry, through Confucius' fifth principle, Shao, a principle that connects our hearts to our ancestors, to the invisible history that came before us, and gives meaning to the future we are building together. Shao, often translated as filial piety, goes far beyond family obedience. It is respect, gratitude, and responsibility, not only toward parents or immediate lineage, but toward the whole human origin, the ancestral collective that sustains our existence. Shao is reverence for what shaped us, even without name, without sound, without physical presence. Imagine living as if everyone who came before you made a silent pact to make your life possible, so that you could breathe, think, and feel. Farmers, painters, warriors, healers, each one anonymous, each one leaving behind an invisible legacy that pulses through you. Shao is that recognition, a silent reverence that transforms how you walk through the present. Shao appears when you share a family story without judgment, when you value forgotten memories that still hold deep meaning, when you care for the land, not just as a resource, but as a living inheritance. It's planting a tree in someone's name without needing to see it grow. It's acting as if all the U.S. that came before are still watching. Stories tell us that Confucius spoke of reverence. Even after a father passed, the son would continue to offer food, clean the grave, and maintain humble rituals, not out of guilt or obligation, but out of respect for the pact of existence. 1. Honor your roots through silence. Open an old photo album. Touch the image of someone who's passed. No words, just quiet gratitude. 2. Care for something that represents your personal tree. A plant, an heirloom, a kept memory that grounds your humanity. 3. Share stories that matter. Tell a friend, a child, or even a camera, this person once did something for me. The story isn't about glory, it's about continuity. When ancestral presence pulses within you, the present aligns. Imagine living through Run, Ji under the silent gaze of those who brought you here. Your words carry more weight. Your choices, more purpose. Your ethics, more depth. Shao isn't a religious duty. It's a human commitment to belonging. It's knowing that nothing begins or ends with you. You are a bridge, a bond, a passage. Find a quiet place. Sit with a photo, a letter, or an object that reminds you of someone who taught you something meaningful. Breathe. Place your hand over your heart. Silently say, I am because of you. Thank you. Repeat 3 times. Then in silence, accept this legacy, not as a burden, but as inspiration. When Shao unites with Ren and the other 4 principles, a complete ethical life is formed. You act for others and for yourself, Ren. You do what is right, even unwitnessed, Yi. You treat each moment with reverence, Li. You choose with balance and reflection, Ji. You walk grounded in invisible legacy, Shao. Together, they form a living system of virtue. If each principle is a breath, Ren, Yi, Li, Ji, and Shao, Then now you are inhaling the first breath of a transformation that begins within, is lived in the everyday, and echoes into the world. Imagine the power of someone who lives like this. Generous in gaze, honest in silence, respectful in speech, wise in choice, rooted in invisible ancestry. You become that person. You've walked through 5 pillars. Run a heart open to others. E. Invisible integrity. Li. Practical reverence. G. Wisdom in action. Shao. Ongoing ancestral honor. They are not religious rules. They are ethical foundations for a life of purpose, presence, and transformation. Keep acting for yourself and for others. Keep honoring. Keep caring. If you've come this far, give yourself a simple gesture. I am of this virtue. In the next moment, we take the next step, translating these principles into sustainable life projects, into a way of being that expands, one that unites your presence, your impact, and your legacy in the next act of this journey. If this touched you, I invite you. Subscribe, share, and leave a comment. I honor my ancestors. That gesture is already Shao. You've now planted 5 powerful seeds: Ren, Yi, Li, Ji, and Shao, and felt how your inner reality begins to whisper its presence. But virtue is more than something you feel, it's something you live. Confucian ethics don't reveal themselves in ideas alone, but in gesture. Today, I'll show you how this intense transformation can be expressed day by day, in your work, your family, your world. Here, the ideal isn't perfection, it's presence. At work, purpose with virtue. Have you ever felt the weight of a world that demands productivity over meaning? This is where Eastern philosophy, Confucius, finds its relevance. Picture your daily tasks. Run, noticing a coworker's fatigue and offering help without being asked. E. Reporting an issue even when there's pressure to stay silent. Li. Beginning meetings with a sincere thank you, honoring others' time. Ji. Saying no to tasks that compromise your balance. Shao. Remembering your work sustains families, including your own, and acting with that responsibility. Integrity, practiced in small decisions, builds credibility, honor, and real purpose. This is morality lived. At home, genuine presence. Being ethical isn't reserved for grand gestures. It begins with a silent embrace. Greet your family in the morning with real attention. Support the tired with ki, the active energy of run. Even a cup of coffee offers more than caffeine. Value old stories, Shao. Make room to listen to your parents, your elders. Every narrative strengthens invisible bonds. Building ties with presence and respect is how we live Confucius wisdom in practice. With nature, ritual of reverence. To respect the natural world is to honor a hidden part of ourselves. Tend to plant with reverence. Watch it grow from sprout to leaf, a living metaphor of growth. Thank the earth for its nourishment. Run. Take only what you need, nothing more. Eat. Remember that this plant may sustain future generations. Shao. Nature doesn't judge, but it reflects us when we live with presence and virtue. These gestures, vast and subtle, don't demand sacrifice. They ask for conscious presence, and that, truly, is personal transformation. Being virtuous isn't a footnote in life. It's the form of life itself. How to turn virtue into a life project. 1. Identify a purpose. Ask yourself, where do I want to leave a mark through the Confucian pillars? Education, environment, community care? 2. Connect with community. Gather those with similar values. A cultural circle, a local initiative, a gesture of justice, E. And presence, Ren. 3. Create rituals of continuity. Open and close each project with symbolic gestures, reigniting reverence, Li, wisdom, Ji, and ancestral connection, Shao. You don't have to change the world all at once. Just make an impact within the network that touches you directly. When your life and actions carry virtue, people notice. Not because you announce it, but because your integrity speaks. Your presence inspires. Your purpose connects. Your legacy echoes. Now you know how to bring Confucian ethics into every corner of your life, how to live virtue even in the simplest moments, how to turn this into something that resonates beyond you. And that's why we're here, to strengthen your capacity for practical virtue and guide you toward a deeper, more inspiring, more sustainable impact. If this resonates, say inwardly, I live virtue as a way of life. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Axiom Sage. We are creating a space for real transformation, where knowing, feeling, and acting align with ethics, intention, purpose, and Eastern wisdom. Have you ever noticed that ethics, no matter how solid, is truly tested in moments of pressure? The world, in its rush, often demands quick results and automatic responses. But it's precisely there, in that space of conflict, that the wisdom of Confucius becomes most relevant. Because, in the end, to live morality with presence is not just about navigating peaceful moments. It's about remaining intact when everything is falling apart. Picture this. You're overwhelmed. Projects are piling up, deadlines tightening, exhaustion hits. Here, Confucian practice invites. Run, to remember yourself, to offer an internal pause with self-compassion. To choose not to collapse into self-pity or overexertion, but also not to destroy yourself with pressure. To move at your own rhythm, without drama, respecting your limits. To pause before deciding, adjusting your pace with clarity. To remember your strength sustains not just you, but those who rely on you. In this context, virtue is endurance, conscious presence that holds its integrity even in chaos. Take 5 minutes now. 1. Sit and close your eyes. 2. Take 6 deep breaths. 3. Visualize your life as a still lake. 4. Ask yourself, does this make me more whole? Or does it fragment me? Does this choice honor my principles? 5. End with the phrase, I choose to be whole. This ritual transforms anxiety into presence, pressure into clarity. Now imagine a heated argument. You could yell, shut down, or argue to exhaustion. Confucian wisdom responds differently. Run. Remember, there's another heart on the other side. Speak your truth with courage, but without harm. Use active silence before interrupting. Evaluate before reacting. Realize you're not just speaking to one person, but through generations. Conflict isn't violence. It can be a space for growth, if lived with clarity, respect, and purpose. Try this the next time conflict arises. 1. Stop. 2. Breathe. 3. Observe. 4. Speak from the heart, without raising your voice. 5. And with presence, even if the other doesn't receive it. This is still applied ethics. Imagine this. A tempting career opportunity appears, but it could cost your emotional balance. Inner conflict, outer ambition, inner truth. Confucian ethics asks you to 1. Care for your inner well-being. 2. Stay true to your integrity. 3. Evaluate with reverence. 4. Reflect on long-term impact. 5. Ask, who do I want to be for those who follow me? This makes your decision not just pragmatic, but spiritual. Take 7 minutes. Visualize your options. Walk through each principle. Asterisk, how would I respond with Rin? With asterisk. With each reflection, breathe and notice your body's response. Close with, my decision honors who I am. In real moments of conflict, you realize your internal compass, shaped by Confucian wisdom, does not fail. It guides you. And this is profound transformation. Your character confirms itself in action, not just in thought, but in the way you live. When you live with compassion in your limits, justice in your steps, reverence in your words, wisdom in your choices, legacy in your vision, the result isn't just self-respect. It is true personal transformation. You are no longer who you were. You are who you choose to be. Someone who acts with presence, purpose, and ethics, even when under pressure. You already know it's possible to live ethically, act with justice, respond wisely, and honor your ancestors. But a quiet question might be rising within. How do I sustain all this every day? Living with purpose isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. And no one understood that better than Confucius. Confucius said, "Knowing is not enough. We must do. Doing is not enough. We must repeat with intention." An ethical life is like preparing tea. You heat the water, rin with compassion. Add the leaves, yi with justice. Respect the steeping time, li with reverence. Savor the aroma before sipping, ji with wisdom. And as you drink, shao, you remember who planted it. A simple metaphor, but it carries the secret. The sacred lives in daily ritual. Imagine your week as a temple. What do you cultivate inside? Let's design a living sketch rooted in the 5 pillars. 1. Morning with purpose, ji plus shao. Wake with the thought, I am the living continuation of something greater. Practice 3 minutes of silence before touching your phone. 2. Conscious action, E plus li. Choose one daily action to perform with full presence. Washing dishes, replying to an email, offering a hug. Treat the gesture as sacred. 3. Care for another run. Choose one person each day for active empathy. Listen, text sincerely, help quietly. 4. Midday pause ritual, ji plus li. Set a 5-minute breathing point in the afternoon. Observe your body, your thoughts, your intent. 5. Evening reflection, shao plus yi. Before sleep, ask yourself, what did I do today that honors my ancestors? Was I ethical, even unseen? What compassion did I offer that was true? You can practice Eastern philosophy like mental hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth, you can brush away excessive judgments, quiet impulses that break integrity, reinforce words that heal. According to Confucius, virtue isn't born from brilliance, but from compassionate discipline. Today, choose a fixed time. 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 9 p.m., your choice. At that time, every day, stop for 1 minute. Inhale with the phrase, I breathe in virtue. Exhale with, I offer presence. This simple act, repeated daily, will shape your mind like water-shaped stone. You'll slip, you'll forget, you'll react without ethics. Maybe. That's not the end of the practice. That's the restart. Confucian philosophy isn't for saints. It's for humans who stumble, but who know how to return. Return to essence. Return to center. Now imagine, a year from now, you've kept this simple ritual. You began each day with quiet gratitude. You acted with a little more presence. You listened more, judged less. You pause daily to remember who you are. You thank your past before sleeping. Now imagine how that's changed. Your body, your voice, your posture, your soul. That's real personal transformation. Big change comes from small repetition. Virtue isn't a miracle. Virtue is constancy. And if you've made it this far, you've already begun. Because thinking is easy, deciding is noble, but practicing gently, every day, that's how you become Confucius in action. You're not just someone who believes in these values. You're becoming someone who lives these values. And when that happens, the world notices, not with applause, but with silent respect. You live in a world where time is fragmented by feeds, notifications, and multitasking. The challenge isn't just to be productive, it's to be whole. It's allowing your presence to remain intact amid speed. And Confucius wisdom is deeply relevant if we bring it into the digital realm. Navigating the digital age with virtue. On the internet, there are thousands of screens between you and the person reading your words. Compassion can be silenced by judgment, but rin is still necessary. Read with kindness before applying. Choose to understand before agreeing or disagreeing. Practice active listening. Research before commenting. Every online gesture carries an echo of virtue. It's easy to share brilliant ideas, but are they yours? You saw a post, loved it, and shared it, as if it were your own? He calls for honesty. Credit authors. Acknowledge ideas. Give proper attribution. Correct mistakes, even without the promise of likes or praise. On the screen, integrity is a choice. In chats, emojis, quick replies, there is beauty in small gestures. Respond personally when matters. Avoid sending messages at inappropriate hours. Use a clear, human tone without rush or urgency. In digital life, respect is the environment that builds trust. Before posting anything, take a breath. Read again. Ask yourself, is this message true? Is it helpful or harmful? Does it speak about me or others? That pause is your silent G. Right now, you're creating a digital trail. Your name, your words, your history. Ask yourself, what do I want my post to say about me? What digital legacy am I creating for someone who finds me in 5 years? Posting with consciousness is honoring your ancestry. A 3-step digital ritual. 1. When opening your phone, pause and ask, is there virtue here? 2. When receiving intense news, pause, verify before sharing. 3. Before bed, review your digital actions. Choose one to express gratitude or edit as an act of digital kindness. Inner favorites, defending your integrity. Use filters to mute content that disturbs you. Set intentional times to check the news. Don't disagree in anger. Use rent to hold space and respond with balance. Your digital well-being is part of living with virtue. You see an aggressive comment. You want to react. Use G to stop. A mental pause. Use E to respond truthfully. Use Li to build empathy. Use Ren to offer kindness, even to the unkind. Use Xiao to remember this is part of your legacy. When the internet tries to consume your integrity, you resist with presence. Even online, you choose to act with values. That quiet resistance makes a difference. Your silent mornings, ethical presence in relationships, and care for the real world, all of it is reflected online. You're not just someone who likes something, you're someone who lives deep convictions, even in 280 characters. You've already taken many steps. You've heard the call of ethics, practiced justice, honored the moment, acted with wisdom, paid homage to those who came before. Now a new question arises. How do I turn this living ethic into something that touches other lives? This is the essence of the final stage in this phase. Acting with ethical purpose in the world. Confucius taught that personal virtue is only complete when it touches the collective. If you take care of yourself, but close your eyes to the world, there's still something missing. But if you care for yourself and let that care overflow, you awaken true purpose. You have wisdom to offer. You have life experiences worth sharing. You don't need to be a master, just be honest. Ask yourself, who could your compassion ease today? What values could guide your work, your art, your leadership? How might your silence teach more than your words? Lived ethics is, by itself, a form of service. 3 ways to practice ethical purpose. 1. Informal mentorship. Support someone younger, not with answers, but with listening. Share your failures and lessons. That's G in service. 2. Virtuous local action. Join small community projects, gardens, conversations, elder support. This is Li and Run in communal practice. 3. Silent inspiration. Be someone who acts respectfully even without an audience. Let others learn from your quiet coherence. That's the extended into the world. Imagine a child watching you greet a doorman with reverence. A co-worker noticing you returning extra change without needing praise. A family member observing how you speak to your parents and being inspired. These micro-actions are invisible, but they shape the world. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Visualize a person or group you'd like to impact. Now, without words, send the intention. May I live with such truth that it quietly touches you. That is the beginning of ethics as legacy. Confucius never called himself a master, but he was because he lived what he taught. And you can be that silent light too. Someone who stays present in others' chaos. Who doesn't impose wisdom, but makes space for it to rise. Who inspires without needing to persuade. That is the beauty of Eastern philosophy in action. Personal transformation that echoes without noise. Your ethical presence shapes space. Your silence shapes atmosphere. Your consistency shapes context. That is real legacy. Now you see, Ren as openness to others. E as firmness in your principles. Li as grace in every gesture. Ji as clarity in every decision. Xiao as gratitude for your roots. These 5 pillars now live in you, and they become the path for others to follow. You've come this far, diving into the teachings of Confucius, learning to live with Ren, Yi, Li, Ji, and Xiao. Now it's time to take one step further, to transform this wisdom into something alive that reaches beyond you, echoing through professions, relationships, communities, and even generations. In this final stage, we'll reflect on real stories. Individuals who, even in complex situations, upheld their ethical compass and build a legacy that still inspires. And at the end, you'll be invited to shape your own legacy. What if a simple gesture of yours could reshape the way people work, love, and connect? According to the timeless wisdom of Confucius, it can. The teacher who rebuilt a school community with active compassion, Ren. Imagine a teacher who began to look beyond his students' grades. He noticed untold stories of pain and neglect. He started listening with full presence, gently intervening, creating support projects, building trust. He embodied Ren, the invisible bridge that transformed a neglected school into a space of belonging. The judge who chose justice, even without witnesses, faced with a difficult case, she identified a technical error that could have favored a powerful company. Without making noise, she corrected the ruling, acknowledged the flaw, and risked political backlash. She embodied integrity that speaks louder than fear, justice practiced in silence, with courage and dignity. The entrepreneur who introduced rituals of respect, Li. She introduced team rituals to celebrate achievements, welcomed each employee by name, and placed ancestral portraits in the break room. Small rituals that established respect and belonging. That is Li, practical reverence that humanizes the corporate world. The scientist who chose wisdom over fame, Ji. Faced with a breakthrough that could bring him fame, he chose to wait for validation, correct procedures, and prioritize clarity over pressure. He embodied Ji, silent wisdom guiding science with ethics and truth. The daughter who carried on her ancestral legacy, Xiao. She restored her mother's house, valued family stories, relearned her grandmother's recipe, and recorded her elders' memories. She lived Xiao, living honor that connects past to future and gives meaning to personal transformation. These are real people, like you, navigating real challenges, who chose to live with virtue. And it changed their worlds. Families found joy again, companies gained purpose, communities were rebuilt. You can be the teacher, the judge, the entrepreneur, the scientist, the daughter honoring her roots, or someone who embodies all of them at once. Today, you're invited to shape your own ethical legacy, a story written through virtuous action. Close your eyes. Breathe. Think of your profession, your sphere of influence. Name 3 possible actions that express Ren, Yi, Li, Ji, and Xiao. Visualize yourself doing them. Feel the impact in yourself, others, and your environment. Now it's time to give voice to your own ethical manifesto, a living document that aligns your values, daily actions, and long-term purpose. It's not a polished essay. It's an inner compass, pulsing with the person you choose to become. Reflect on, who are you at your essence right now? Which values do you already live naturally? Right? In your mind or on paper? I am someone who insert active value. I already practice insert specific action with ease. Recognizing what you already embody is the foundation for growth. Now connect each Confucian value to an intentional phrase you want to live daily. Run. I choose to welcome others with presence every day. E. I choose to be honest even when no one is watching. Li. I choose to treat each person as part of something sacred. G. I choose to decide with wisdom before I act. Xiao. I choose to honor my roots with every step. Write these into your manifesto. Let them become vows. For each pillar, choose one tangible act or habit to carry out in the coming weeks. Run. Send a heartfelt message to someone who made a difference. E. Quietly return something that isn't yours. No credit needed. Li. Greet a family member or colleague each morning with reverence. G. Pause 5 minutes before replying to important emails. Xiao. Dedicate a Sunday to revisiting family memories or preserving a tradition. Write them down. These are your real-life commitments. Picture 3 future moments. 1 year from now, after living your manifesto. 2, the impact on your face, posture, and others' eyes. 3, the story they'll be told about you by grandchildren, colleagues, or friends. Feel that future. It's yours to create. Make it tangible. Print and display it in your space. Set calm reminders with each pillar on your phone. Share it weekly with a trusted friend or mentor. This is not a burden. It's an ethical embrace that walks beside you. When you speak your manifesto and anchor it in action, something awakens within. You're no longer an observer of virtue. You become the author of your own ethics. From here on, transformation is no longer internal only. It becomes visible in your steps, your words, your presence. Life will evolve, so will your path, and your manifesto will grow with you. New values will emerge. New actions will arise, but the foundation remains. And that is the beauty of a legacy in motion. OUV made it here, and that, in itself, is a choice. A choice to walk, step by step, with presence, purpose, and Confucian ethics. Now, let us honor who you've become, and ignite the flame of who you can be from this moment forward. Close your eyes and see yourself. Acting with compassion, run, in gestures unseen by the world. Choosing integrity, even when no one is watching. Treating each moment with reverence, Li, in every interaction and silence. Making decisions with clarity, Ji, in moments of tension. Honoring your roots, Xiao, with each choice and exchange. You're no longer someone simply seeking transformation. You've already transformed, and it echoes without spotlights, without audience, only through presence. Those stories of the teacher, the judge, the entrepreneur, the scientist, and the daughter, they are echoes of something already within you. Virtuous leaders don't need to travel far. They touch lives with subtlety and dignity. They build quiet bridges because virtue doesn't demand words. It demands coherence. You are that person now. Open your inner journal. There they are, your 5 promises, your living actions, your daily gestures of presence. Remember, run to welcome, E to be honest, Li to honor, G to discern, Xiao to carry your lineage. Bring this into your next conversation, your next email, your next silent offering. And imagine, what you planted is now beginning to grow. You're not just a witness to this philosophy. You're a living channel of it. Today, your choices carry people, shape spaces, and inform futures. Today, you live Confucius, not in theory, but in action. Today, you change the world by being at peace within yourself. If this resonated with you, subscribe to Axiom Sage. Share this journey with someone who seeks virtue. Leave a comment. How will you begin your legacy? What small action starts tomorrow? We're building a quiet network of virtuous individuals, people walking with presence, purpose, and transformation. And you're part of it. Breathe deeply. Feel your breath becoming presence. Now see, you're already legacy. You're already change. The wisdom you chose to live has taken root within you, and now will never fade. Thank you for walking this path with me. See you in the next phases. New reflections, new practices, new challenges, always guided by Run, Ji, and Xiao. Timeless Eastern wisdom to transform your your mind and spirit.